Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're here because about this time last year, maybe just a little later, we had the great opportunity to find out about an organization in Montgomery called InTouch. It's represented by a great board, but it's funded by an anonymous funder. They came to us with the concept of, for Montgomery, Alabama, making sure that every household had a smoke detector, that they wanted to make available these smoke detectors for residents of Montgomery County, not just the city, but the entire county. And we think that's in that 20 to 25,000 range. And so we started this effort about 10 months ago to go to every house, knock on the door, with our fire personnel to make some inspections, and then with some of the impact students, some military volunteers and others numbered in the hundreds, we were able to begin to install these smoke detectors, and I promise you, smoke detectors will save lives. As a matter of fact, the fire college head has told us that in the South, Governor, we're more conscious about that than the other places, and we have a higher percentage of homes in the South, but we need to make sure that everyone gets there. So that leads us then to today, because Henry Frazier and Brenda Blunt, who is up front here, you see, Lord have mercy, George, gosh, dog it. Johnny George, who used to be with us, he is the head of the fire college here, and it's been his leadership with these young men and women that have been helping us. And we also have our great fire chief, who's led us to high echelon, and his people are around the room. But because of the success of that particular program, Brenda came and said, why don't we take this statewide? And I really thought this was a pretty good idea. I just happened to be friends with the state insurance commissioner who has fire and the fire marshal under him. So I mentioned it to Jim Ridling one day, and he thought it was a really good idea. And he gave it to Scott Pilgrim, and the rest is history. So Governor, we're delighted to have you here, because I believe that you're going to make an announcement on behalf of the state for them to be the beneficiary of this trial that we've had. So, ladies and gentlemen, a person that is no stranger to Montgomery, Alabama. She's lived here a while. She's been in the higher education. She's been the treasurer. She's been elected lieutenant governor. And now, as we all know, she is doing a fantastic job. Kay Ivey.
Well, good morning, and I'm certainly pleased to join all of you this morning. Mayor Strange, thank you for that introduction, but also thank you for what you and the city of Montgomery have done in all these efforts and to get us this far. And today's project and today's progress is the result of a lot of collaboration and partnerships. So that means we've got several folks that we need to thank today. And that includes Dr. Henry Frazier and Brenda Blunt with InTouch, Alabama Fire Marshal Scott Pilgrim. Where's Scott? There's Scott Pilgrim, your Fire Marshal, and Matt Russell of the Alabama Fire College. And of course, to so many volunteers, like these young people before us and others who've given their hands and provided the muscle to make this initiative so successful. It's a sad fact for our great state, but we've already had 19 fire casualties in our great state in 2018. Folks, we've got to find a way to stop this. In many instances, when we've had a home fire, smoke detectors have actually saved lives. So it's important to take what we've learned here and with the success you've had in Montgomery and take it statewide, and see that all Alabamians who need a smoke detector have one, and also the ability to have it installed if they choose. So thanks to the partnership of InTouch, Alabama Fire College in Tuscaloosa, and the fire marshal's office, over 20,000 smoke detectors have already been installed here in Montgomery. So now our goal is to go statewide. And so today I am proud to announce, let's get alarmed, Alabama. Through this initiative of Let's Get Alarmed, Alabama, we can provide smoke detectors and installation to homes all over Alabama free of charge. So to request your smoke detector, here's a phone number. Please be sure you take it down. And this is the Alabama Fire College, 1-800-241-2467. That's 1-800-241-2467. From there, the Fire College will contact your local fire department, and the local fire department will contact local volunteers who will come to your home and install a smoke detector. So I encourage all Alabamians to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. It's free of charge, it saves lives, and it's something all Alabamians need to pursue. So let's get alarmed, Alabama. Thank y'all so much for being here today.
Appreciate that. Since I had that senior moment with Johnny George, I'm going to ask Johnny if he would, and Matt, just give me a minute, personal privilege on that. Johnny, if you would come and point out these young men and women that are in front and talk about the role that they've played through the Montgomery Public School System in your school here, your impact. Would you mind doing that?
Good morning. It is a pleasure and it is an honor to be here, especially on an occasion like this with such an important item on the table. Smoke detectors. Smoke detectors plays an important role in safety and the lives of our families. Our students here are some of the best students that we have in Montgomery Public Schools. The fire department, the fire service program, the public safety program, the electrical department, the welding department, they all work together to go out and put up these smoke detectors. Rick over to our right over there, he played a big part in initiating this program, and Rick, we want to give you a round of applause. Our students here are great. Ardani, you know Ardani.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. We had a wonderful time with him.
Yeah, Ardani is a very good student. And the beauty of our program, it touches each high school in the state, in the city. Carver, Lanier, Park Crossing, Lee, Jeff Davis. We have students in our program from all those schools. That's the beauty. You can only imagine on Monday morning after football game what our conversation starts like, you know. But they are good students. Hill here, her father is a captain with Montgomery Fire Department. Raise your hand. This student, he's a good student from JD. These students here are good students from Lanier, Lee, JD. So it's a good mixture. And that's what makes our program a big success. And like I said before, I had one student, he graduated from my program, the fire science program. He went on with Montgomery Fire Department to be hired at the age of 18, making $38,000, $39,000 a year, finished #1 in the school, and thankful to the mayor. The mayor gave him a step raise. Young man making about $40,000 at 18 years old, at home, working 10 days a month. It's a great program. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, Johnny. I think you said this, he not only finished, he did in fact finish #1 in his class. Please send us more of those. That's a great investment for us to be able to get there. You know, it's not easy to do this program within the city and in the county of Montgomery, and as the governor said, we would expect something in the 20 to 25,000 range to be installed over the next year or so. But if you think statewide, you might be thinking as much as 300,000 of these, and there are 1,100 volunteer fire departments in the state, plus those that are in the municipalities. So that's going to be a massive coordination job, and it's already underway. And the guy that's kind of been charged with doing that is the head of the fire college, and he's one that has taken the mantle, and he's involved in this from the get-go, and he'll introduce some other folks. Would you please welcome Matt Russell with the fire college.
Good morning. I just want to take a few minutes and acknowledge the folks that have made this happen. First and foremost, one of our staff members, Miss Adrienne Booth. She's a training specialist at the Fire College. She has passion for her job and her career, and obviously that's translated into the community, not only locally where she lives, where she's a volunteer fire chief in Blount County, but also throughout the state of Alabama. So I appreciate her very much for her efforts. I'd also like to thank Montgomery Fire Chief Milford Jordan. He's been, this is a model program. Mayor Strange, again, this is a model program for the state of Alabama. After April 27th, 2011, we realized that none of us have all the resources that we need to do every job. And so that's the reason what the federal government talks about a community-wide approach using private partners like InTouch, Montgomery Fire, the state of Alabama, and the state fire marshal's office. So with all those entities, we should be able to accomplish our mission, at least come very close. So thank you to all of those folks for participating in the program. I'd like to give you just a few statistics about fires in the United States. In 2016, there were 475,000 fires, 22,950 deaths, 7.9 billion in property damage, and 81% of those deaths were in residential structures. Fire departments respond to a structure fire every 66 seconds in the United States. A fire death occurs about every 2.5 hours. The leading cause of residential structure fires is cooking equipment. That's about 47% of fires. Unattended cooking fires are the leading cause of residential fires. The most fatalities occur from people smoking in bed or discarded smoking materials. That's about 22%. So what we want to do is elevate the conversation in regards to cooking equipment and how it's involved in fires, and then also smoking materials. Unfortunately, during the smoking incidents, that's often coupled with intoxication from drugs or alcohol. So again, trying to elevate the conversation. In regards to the fire victims, the most vulnerable fire victims are those less than 5 years old or those greater than 65. So those are our target hazards, and I know that the fire departments know these things, and so those should be our target groups. Males also have a greater instance of fire fatality, and then also one of the things I know that's significant to the city of Montgomery, as a retiree of the city of Birmingham, I can relate to this as well. African Americans are roughly twice as likely to be killed in fires as opposed to the general population. So again, that's the reason that InTouch, the local government, all these partnerships are so important. One of the things, the last things I want to mention is there's 5 E's of community risk reduction. That's education, engineering, enforcement, and economic incentives. Those are proactive approaches. The last thing that's the least effective is emergency response, the 5th E in community risk reduction. So the reason this program is so important is because it's proactive. Very simply to say, if you want to prevent fire deaths, prevent fires. And if we can do those proactive things, then we're ahead of the game. And the fire department the fire service likes to tout that we save lives. If we're really saving lives, we're going to do those things in regards to education, engineering, enforcement, and economic incentives, because we know that those things have a definitive impact. The goal of the smoke alarm campaign is to identify and prioritize our risk, utilize resources to reduce the occurrence and impact of fire, and then coordinate operations with prevention. To the young folks here, congratulations to you. I went on a call once, and after the call, the lady told me, I met her a few weeks later, and she said, you don't know what 6 hours was worth. Just imagine the impact that you would have if one of those smoke alarms saved someone's life. The rest of your life would be fulfilled in knowing that you had a significant impact on people. So congratulations and kudos to you, to the program manager. Thank you for what you do. So.
Thanks, man. The governor's already acknowledged Scott Pilgrim. He took the mantle from Jim Ridling and really has organized this selecting the fire college as a likely and a group that able to do that. Our fire chief, Benford Jordan, when we first talked about this, he grabbed a hold of that because he knew that prevention is the best fight against these fires. We've got members of the InTouch board with us today. Henry Frazier and Brenda have been at the forefront representing this anonymous donor. And if you think about it, one smoke detector can save so many lives, and it does it every day. And to the extent that we can put smoke detectors throughout this state, we can be a leading example of what it means to be proactive in causes of death, particularly in the fire service. So with that, we thank each and every one of you for coming. We hope that while there won't be questions now, that you'll get these individuals that are really the stars, particularly those students in the fire college that are going to be doing this for the future. It's not something we can get done in a day. It's going to take us several months, if not several years, around the state of Alabama. But this is an important first step to get 300,000 smoke detectors in our homes throughout the state of Alabama. Thank you so much for being here.